What's going on, everyone? This is Sports with Eric Hicks on this Monday, the last game of week 2. We have the Bears and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's going to be at the Bears, visiting the Bears at home. But before we get into that matchup, let's talk about all the things that happened earlier Sunday in week 2. First thing we're going to bring up is this guy right here. Have you seen him? Vontae Davis. He was last seen running away from his teammates. He informed his coaching staff at the end of the first half that he was not going to return. In fact, telling them he retired. Retired in the second half, something that has been unheard of before. The National Football League, college football, Pee Wee, Pop Warner, whatever you want to call it. That was something unheard of. In fact, he didn't address his teammates at all. He just informed the coaches and then later went to Twitter and informed the people of his decision. The players didn't actually know about it until going into the second half of their game versus the San Diego Chargers. Players were steamed, not only in their locker room, but former players that talked on the show today on ESPN. This is something that's never been done before. I just hope this doesn't begin to be a trend among any players in the National Football League, especially during this season, because that wasn't called for. I don't think this guy is not only not going to get a job as an analyst, he probably won't even get a job being at a AAU football game or basketball game or even at a boys and girls club. This is silly. I can't believe he did it. I don't even condone that. That's something that's just crazy out of nowhere. So hopefully this is the last we've seen of Vontae Davis and anybody ever try to do what he just did. But now we're going to get off of Vontae Davis and go to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns were on the road against the New Orleans Saints, had a chance to win. Their woes continue, not with the offense and the defense, but with special teams. Their field goal kicker, Zane Gonzalez, missed 2 field goals and an extra point. And we later found out the reason why he was having trouble missing those field goals and extra point was because he was suffering from a growing injury. Well, he cost the Browns their first game of the season. Last week they tied versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now they've gotten rid of him and have in fact signed a new kicker, Greg Joseph, who was with the Dolphins in the preseason. So hopefully this will kind of fix their special team woes and as far as their winning woes. And hopefully they'll get back to their winning ways as they face the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. So hopefully they can get it done. And speaking of the Cleveland Browns and ties, there was another tie this week between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. Yes, it was a highly competitive football game. The Packers pretty much controlled the game from start to finish, but Minnesota made a rally comeback. They tied the game, missed field goals from both teams. Special teams has been a huge issue, and ties. So this is the NFC North. They ended it in a tie. And now we have another tie, second tie this year. I think right now that the competition committee needs to rule to get rid of this tie, not during the off season, but now during the regular season, because this is going to impact later down the road with other teams. So they got to do a better job of cleaning that up. Next up, we're going to talk about the Cowboys. Landon Collins actually is eating crow today. He ate crow after the game. He's probably still eating crow right today. He said that the only way that the Giants would have the best chance to win is if the ball was in Dak Prescott's hand. Well, shout out to Dak Prescott because he heard it and stood up to the challenge, throwing 160 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott scored a touchdown as well, and that Cowboy defense got 6 sacks of Eli Manning. So shout out to the Cowboys as they won that one 20-13. So Cowboys are now 1-1, and the Giants, surprisingly, are 0-2. And speaking of another 0-2 team, the Oakland Raiders followed an 0-2, losing a close one by a field goal, 19-20. Derek Carr actually looked pretty well, answered the bell, was 29 of 32, 288 yards passing, and a touchdown. Amari Cooper got things going, 10 receptions, 116 yards. Beast Mode got his touchdown. They controlled the game pretty much as far as leading throughout the game. Denver came back late. Got a fourth quarter comeback drive with Case Keenum to get a field goal to win that game. Raiders defense, they've lost Khalil Mack, so they're still trying to find their way. John Gruden's 0-2, so I expect him to still try to find and work some things out in order to get that team on the same page offensively, defensively, and special teams wise as well. So hopefully they can get it done as they face Miami next week. The next game we're going to talk about, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Who'd have thought that the Jacksonville Jaguars would have actually had a stronghold on the New England Patriots? They led 21-3 in the first half before New England even started to try to score and catch up. Jaguars won that one 31-20. Blake Bortles had 377 yards passing in that game, 4 touchdowns. So Blake could get it done on the offensive side without Leonard Fournette, who was out in that game due to an injury. So big shout out to the Jags and Jalen Ramsey for actually talking the talk and walking the walk and beating New England Patriots. And last, we're going to talk about my picks for Monday. We have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. Vic Fangio has his defensive squad. They have Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, and other defensive stars. Seattle last week gave up 6 sacks to the Denver Broncos. They have a good defense. The Bears do too. I'm going with the Bears to win this one at home versus Seattle. And that's my pick for Monday night. So tune in next time where I give you my picks for Thursday, and see you next time on Sunday. This is Eric Hicks. I'm out.